Hey guys, my name is Robert Taylor. I'm a screenwriter out in Los Angeles. Got my start as a writer's assistant on a Netflix show called Grace and Frankie, then wrote for 8 seasons on another little Netflix show called Spirit Riding Free. I've developed with people like Dan Lin, Carrie Hart, Glenn Mazzara, but you know what? Enough about me. That's not the point of this video. The point is that lately, I've become a little obsessed with this British comedy panel / game show called Taskmaster, so much so that I've begun a YouTube channel to talk about it. Welcome. If you're wondering what Taskmaster is, I want to first thank you for lasting these 20-something seconds into the video. The series has been broadcasting in the UK since about 2015, and in each season, 5 different celebrities, they're usually comedians, are facing off against one another in a series of silly yet ingenious tasks, which are then filmed and broadcast for viewers to mock, but you know what, also be a little impressed by. Each task is ranked by the Taskmaster, Greg Davies, from 1 point to 5 points, with 5 being the highest. He's ably assisted by his, wait for it, assistant, Alex Horne, in an awesome yet concerning master-sub relationship that I both pity and am a little envious of. But any description of the show will never quite capture the specific brand of anarchy that is doled out on a weekly basis by the cast. Created by Alex, it's both one of the smartest shows on television, and has also featured someone eating a pie made out of hot toothpaste, which is just gross. The participants often do idiotic things, but you know, sometimes they will solve a puzzle with such ingenuity that it's breathtaking. Now, if you've never heard of Taskmaster, I don't blame you. Despite being a hit in the UK, it's not broadcast here in America. The only way you can really find out about it is to be given it. You know, kind of like an STD. Now, most episodes from previous seasons are up on YouTube, as well as this pay app called Taskmaster Supermax Plus, although I fully expect that to cease existence like any minute now. Devoting an American YouTube channel to the show can seem as nonsensical as changing your shirt in the middle of a sentence. And yet, the series has created a devoted fan base here in the States. Not as large as in the UK, but still just as rabid. It's already spun off into many international editions, including a quickly canceled, very bad US edition on Comedy Central, which apparently continues to exist even after Drunk History was canceled. However you have come to Taskmaster, whether through the app or YouTube or less legal means, welcome. I'm going to be covering every season, and for each one, I'll first rank the cast from 1 point to 5 points. Then we'll discuss the quality of the task writing, pick a few best and worst tasks, and finally, rate the season as a whole. Though UK audiences are already aware of the personalities competing on every season of Taskmaster, people like me, who are American, aren't. They are usually B and C-list celebrities across the pond with careers, scandals, established personas, all that jazz. But to me, they're just people ready to be tortured. And in all honesty, I kind of like it that way. Sure, maybe one is familiar to me every other season or so, but part of the fun is going in blind. So I was going down a 4-hour James Acaster YouTube clickhole, as one does, and ended up watching a few episodes of this panel show called 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown. Roisin didn't make much of an impression on me the first time I watched her on Taskmaster, but she was on the panel for 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown, and Roisin was a delight. She was funny, engaging, had great chemistry with the other panelists. But then I watched the season again, and, well, she's not great. Roisin is one of Greg's best friends, and in every episode when he introduces her, he tells these very funny stories about their friendship involving, you know, things like penis drawings, various meats, all that good stuff. And all those stories, they're more interesting than anything she does during these 6 episodes of the first season. Now, every series needs a court jester-style character, Joe, Judy, Nish, people like that, who's just awful at nearly everything they attempt to do. And I guess Roisin deserves some credit at being the first example at this, but those comparable contestants, they made their mark by doing things completely over the top and then doubling down whenever things started to fall apart, which was, let's face it, every single time they walked on camera. Roisin just wanders through the season with a clueless smile on her face. I mean, in Paint a Horse While Riding a Horse, she didn't even ride a horse. It's right there in the title, girl.
I can draw a horse sat on a chair, and I can ride a horse in my mind. Do I get points for that?
She bafflingly turned around when Alex was trying those disgusting pies, more on them later. And in the Boulder Challenge, she just stood there, vaguely calling the same taxi company for most of the allotted time, before even removing it from the garage.
Thank you so much. Right, bye-bye.
How long will they be?
45 to 60 minutes.
Oh, right. You've got 32 minutes left.
Look, there were a few high points, like her filmed in reverse spitting, that time she was arguing against herself after kinda sorta cheating in the mini golf challenge.
Are you allowed to just sweep your way through it and go?
And, you know, as I said, she's very funny on other panel shows. But this show, she didn't really play to any of her strengths, and ultimately, she's just there. So Frank is a perfectly decent Taskmaster contestant who was expert at finishing in the middle of the pack throughout the entire series. He's the first of the players who are never really extraordinary, but stumble their way to second or third place by not having any nuclear meltdown moments. For me, his clear high point in the season came when he was tasked to collect tears, and he just grabbed all the crew members nearby, had them shove onions in their eyes, as one does, and then sang to them while he grabbed their tears with a spoon.
I stroked the best friend that a man ever had, and I cried so I scarcely could see.
It's one of the funniest moments in the series, bar none, and I only wish he ever came close to that on a more regular basis, right? But the rest of the time, he is what I would call competent at tasks. I really like the painting he made of the aforementioned horse. I guess. Yeah, I did. But if you look at the points for 95% of the other tasks, he rarely comes out on top. His teaming with Tim for the group tasks was a wrong choice. Someone like Josh probably would have been better because more anarchy. But that said, the thing that I do love about Frank is his running commentary during the live section of the show. He quickly becomes the Greek chorus for the audience. And all his jokes are damn funny. His words during those live shows genuinely elevate the first season, and he does wonders to help Greg and Alex get over the awkwardness of those first few tapings. Alex gives Frank credit for being the guy who made Taskmaster happen. He's the first celeb to sign on ever, and for that, we shall be forever grateful. Not grateful enough to give him a bonus point, but thanks, Frank. I'm really torn about where to place Tim, so I ultimately chose to plop him right down in the middle of the pack. I hadn't seen the first season in a while, and I think I sort of fused him and Al, Uncle Moneybags, Murray from season 3 in my mind. It's odd watching him on the series. Half the time he seems almost manic in his desperation to win. I mean, look at the way he leaps into that bathtub to empty it.
Sure.
Or that super pathetic image of him in the middle of that rainstorm with that tiny umbrella as he tries to finish the picture. He's the first contestant to actively cheat in order to get points, and has the first real costume of anyone in the series history. But other times, he's the one contestant who seems to be above it all. He doesn't even grow a long nail, and instead turns in a note from the director of the play he was working on. What the hell? His 20-pound gift for Greg? Absolute rubbish. And also, most of his live tasks were passable at best. I mean, the guy can't even be bothered to tie a balloon. Maybe when he was filming, he was having a blast, and then something happened between that and the live shows. I don't know. But whatever the case, Tim's remained part of the Taskmaster family. He's helped Alex craft tasks most every season since then. So while his performance was good and bad, his legacy on the show, that remains strong. Josh is genuinely fascinating. During the live shows, he's gasping at the lengths other contestants are going to in order to get points, genuinely shocked. And then he offers up a blank check to a prize task, and also gets a tattoo of Greg on his foot.
Is it real?
And, I mean, It's all about those two tasks, isn't it? Josh isn't especially funny during the live shows. He says punchlines with an adorable, self-satisfied grin that doesn't make what he's saying any funnier. And until the middle of the season, he seemed to be coasting right down the center, doing a Frank Skinner. In the first episode, he got all threes except for a single one. And I think especially in the first half of episodes, the most memorable thing about him was watching his stress level skyrocket upon reading what the various tasks are. But yeah, that was it. That said, never more so than when he reads the watermelon tasks and immediately goes,
I'm allergic to watermelon.
But then the Poet and the Egg episode comes along and it changed everything for Josh. The reveal of the tattoo through that photo of him in genuine pain remains one of the top 5 moments of the entire series, bar none. And what would have happened if the show bombed? He'd have an eternal reminder of this giant failing on his foot forever. That's devotion right there. Okay, side note, I wish that they would bring back the gift for the Taskmaster tasks. You know, not every season, since the contestants would be expecting it, but why not every second or third season? I love it so much. Okay, but between the tattoo and the giant blank check that Frank claimed and immediately wrote $19,000 on, Josh has sealed his place in Taskmaster history. Personally, I wouldn't put him at the top of my all-timers, but his actions inarguably help set the tone for the entire series moving forward. And that makes him kind of undeniable. But still not the best of the season. That would be Ramesh, everyone's favorite angry, vaping vegan. Ramesh started the series grumpy and got progressively more and more angry with each subsequent episode. And rarely has another human being's anger brought me more joy. What makes Ramesh the best contestant on the season, and one of the best contestants of all time, is that even though he clearly is furious every moment he's sitting on stage during the live shows, he still devoted every ounce of himself to the tasks. Grabbing that watermelon, smashing it on the floor, and gobbling up the fruit until he vomited is the moment that defined the series. But there are so many other brilliant moments. You know, my favorite of which is the balloon popping, tree hopping in the second episode, complete with that genuinely bizarre tree wizard song that will haunt you for days after you hear it.
Tree wizard flies up to his tree and waves goodbye to you. Tree wizard, tree wizard, tree wizard.
And him golfing with eggs very badly despite being vegan. Oh, and wiping the hot sauce on his eyes. And, okay, look. This is quickly just becoming me listing all the ways Ramesh is excellent, and I'll save my task lists for later. He's one of the best to ever play the game, and when Greg and Alex finally sell out and create an all-star season, because screw Champion of Champions, he deserves a place on that stage. Boop! So the final episode prize task was nearly a complete bust, with Rasheen's self-head massager, perhaps the nadir of the entire season. The team tasks this season were almost all trash, and the make a bed while holding hands nearly stole this place. But I chose this one because both of them were so violently unfunny. If you can't get a laugh out of shoving Alex's face into a cake and then having him fall into a bathtub, then what's the goddamn point of anything anymore? I am well aware that a certain section of the Taskmaster fandom loves the more disgusting tasks, but that ain't me, folks. It was weird, awkward to begin with, but watching Alex eat that hot toothpaste pie while that white string of gross-ass paste was hanging between him and the pastry, it's one of the grossest things I've ever seen. And even talking about it now, I'm almost gagging, so just no. You're a hypocrite, Robert Taylor. You know, that's probably what you're screaming at the screen right now. If you knew my name 30 seconds after I said, I don't like disgusting tasks. And if I'm being very honest, Ramesh vomiting is the only reason this isn't higher on the list. But I would be remiss if I did not include it. The first ever real task in the series. Prize tasks don't count. It perfectly defined every one of the contestants' personalities. From Rasheen's cluelessness to Tim and Ramesh's desperation, It's everything the Taskmaster is, the good, the bad, all contained within those 5 minutes. It's a great idea, and every single person did wonderfully. Everyone. Tim's puzzle video was ranked last, but was honestly awesome enough to have gotten first if the others hadn't managed to be bananas good. Even Roshin's spitting was outstanding, another sentence I never thought I'd say. That said, Tree Wizard. That's all. Obviously it's this one. I mean, obviously. So I don't know if you've watched the first episode of the series lately, but it's a little bit yikes. For a show that is so sure of itself tonally and stylistically, you can all but hear the wheels squeaking. Greg's visibly nervous in his introduction. The master-sub relationship gags between him and Alex are not enjoyed by the audience. And speaking of the audience, Greg caters to them much more than he would later in the show, asking them questions and trying to get input on how he should rank people. It's a different, more cramped theater than we're used to, and don't get me started on Alex's iPad arm. How dare he? But it's also odd to see some of the film tasks, because the contestants sometimes address them as actual human beings and not Greg's minion monkeys, desperate to please him at any cost. The high five of 55-year-olds sort of just lies there inert, save for my bottom rankings thanks to Frank threatening a 1-year-old in order to get a high five. The series luckily finds its footing fairly quickly in the run though, and by the end of the series, it feels like Taskmaster, or at least the Taskmaster we know and obsess over. About 5 brilliant tasks stand out, as does Josh's obsession and Ramesh's everything, and 6 episodes feels exactly the right length for this crew. It's still middle of the pack though, so I ultimately award Season 1 2 points, with a rare bonus point for paving the way for future excellence. Ultimately, it's a sometimes fun, sometimes super sweaty mess. Kinda like this video. But what do you think? Is Ramesh one of the all-time greats? What Taskmaster tattoo would you get? And is watermelon allergies really a thing?